What's going on, y'all? Every day means every day, episode number 14. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can rewire your brain for success. If this is your first time on the channel and you're wondering, who is this guy with the big biceps talking about success? It's a valid question, by the way. These things are bigger than they ought to be. But it's a valid question. My name is Brandon Burns. I'm a peak performance coach and motivational speaker. I've worked with clients like Olympic athletes, EME and Grammy award-winning artists, as well as countless entrepreneurs and executives to help them live up to their potential daily, not just occasionally. I do that by helping people get control of their habits, their physical fitness, and their mental fitness. If you're interested in learning more about that, go check out everydaymeanseveryday.com. I've got a totally free ebook right there that will help you get started. But with that being said, let's get to the video. I want to read you a couple of quotes from one of my personal favorite authors of all time, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Reading Emerson is kind of challenging because in an almost spiritual way, he has this way of connecting to deeply fundamental truths about life and reality in a way that very, very few authors can do. You read spiritual texts like the Gita or the Bible or the Quran, and you get that same sense of this is not just a book in the way that you and I are accustomed to books in this generation, in this era, right? These days you write a book and you really write 200 pages of fluff around 40 or 50 pages of a really interesting idea. And it's hyper focused and it's all pretty surface level. But an author like Emerson, similar to those scriptural spiritual writers, it has a way of just connecting to a much more fundamental connection that he has as an author with truths that we all live out and experience in our lives that will remain true 1,000 years from now and that have been true for the previous 1,000 years. It's just these everlasting, timeless principles that he speaks about. And I think it's just so rich. And so I can't wait to share these two quotes with you. The first one is this. It says, "The common cannot be the heroic, and the heroic cannot be the common." Such a great piece of writing. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so powerful. The common cannot be the heroic, and the heroic cannot be the common. What does that mean? I think that all of us are on our own hero's journey. If you know anything about storytelling, you've heard of the hero's journey. And basically what the hero's journey is you have your hero and he's on a mission to become all that he can possibly become. He's on a mission to fulfill his ultimate destiny, which is maximizing their potential. That's really the hero's journey. And of course, you have a tragedy of obstacles and adversities that interfere with that storyline, but that's what makes it heroic, is that through the process of overcoming the tragedies of life, the hero grows into who the hero was always created to be. And every good book follows that script, every good movie follows that script, and I think every well-lived human life follows that script. But what Emerson is telling us here is that if you want to live out that hero's journey, if you want to explore the depth and breadth of your potential, if you want to see what you're truly capable of as a human being, you can't be common. You just can't be common. And what does being common mean? Well, common means doing what everybody else does. It means thinking the way that everybody else thinks. It means speaking the way that everybody else thinks. Let me give you another quote by Emerson that I think really wraps up this point. He says, "Envy is ignorance, and imitation is suicide. Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist." One more time. Envy is ignorance. Okay, what does that part mean? Let's take that part in isolation. If I am envious of somebody else, I am ignorant to A, my own potential to live the same or better life that I'm envious of. B, I'm ignorant of their own real life. I might see the surface, but I don't know what's hiding behind the surface. Jordan Peterson had this great quote where he said, you see somebody speeding down the highway in a red Porsche and you think, damn, I wish I was that guy. And then what you don't know is that all along the guy speeding down the road in the red Porsche is thinking about wrapping it around the next tree or telephone pole because he's sick of his life. He's fed up, he's depressed, he's deeply in debt. Like, you don't know what's going on with that guy's life. So when he says envy is ignorance, it means there's an ignorance in yourself and what you're truly capable of. There's an ignorance in what you're even looking at to be envious of in the first place. And I would argue there's an ignorance in the fundamental meaning of life itself. If you become envious over somebody else's achievements, accomplishments, possessions, etc., you're so far lost that I think a part of what he's getting at here is you're ignorant to the essence of human life. Okay, I don't want to go too deep on that. So envy is ignorance. The next part, and imitation is suicide. The more I try to be like somebody else, the less of me I am. The more I try to become like you, the more I lose myself. And so by trying to imitate others, I'm actually committing a form of suicide. It's spiritual suicide because I'm losing me. I'm losing the essence of who I really am at my core by trying to be like somebody else. So envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. Whoso must be a man must be a non-conformist. And here he's saying that if you want to be a man, not biologically, we're not talking about gender. He says, if you want to be a man of substance, if you want to be a man of value, if you want to be a man that is respectable, that is admired, that is worthy of going through this hero's journey, that's what he means when he says, whoso would be a man must be a non-conformist. You can't conform. Another way of saying you must be a non-conformist is that you cannot be common. You know, one of my own quotes that I've been saying for probably a decade now, I think I came up with this when I was like 16, is the chosen one mustn't act like the common man, lest he himself become common. If you do common things, it doesn't matter what gifts God gave you. It doesn't matter how special you are. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how much education you get. It doesn't matter how good your mentors are, how much you learn, how much you practice. If you do common stuff, you're going to get common results. It's not rocket science. If you do common behaviors, you're going to get common results. If you think common thoughts, you're going to take common actions. If you take common actions, you'll get common results. And it's a self-defeating cycle, right? Because what would be an example of a common thought, Brandon? Well, a common thought would be, I'm not good enough. You say, that's not common. The hell it is. Everybody has battles with thoughts like that. I mean, seriously, if you've never thought that, I mean, praise God for you and your life. But I mean, I think 99% of us have had a thought along that vein of, man, maybe I'm just not good enough. Okay. Well, what happens when you think that common thought? You don't go all in the way that you would if you had an uncommon thought, which is, I know that I'm enough. Not I think, I know that I am enough. Then when you have that type of belief, that type of faith, that type of thought, you go into stuff with a totally different mindset. Now you've already made the decision that you're going to win before you even set out on whatever goal that it is that you're trying to accomplish. You've already won in your mind. You're already 95% of the way there. You just got to show the rest of the world what you already believe. And that's just a byproduct of doing the work, which you're going to do, and you're going to do it at a high level because you actually believe in it. So uncommon thoughts lead to uncommon actions, which lead to uncommon results, which loop all the way back around to reinforce those uncommon beliefs and thoughts. On the contrary, common beliefs, common values, common thoughts translate into common actions. Common actions translate into common results, and common results reinforce those common beliefs, values, and thoughts. So my question to you is this. I want you to audit yourself, okay? What are some things that you could be more non-conforming in? What are some things that you could do a little bit less commonly? Things that you could be more heroic in the way that you go. It sounds like romantic language, but it's really not. I mean, it's really not. Like, can you be heroic in your habits? Yeah, you can. You can wake up at a certain time every day. You can take a cold shower every day. You can work out every day. You can practice something that scares you every day. I did this for years. If you've been following this channel, you know that I'm an introvert. Not like oh, I don't really like talking to people. I'm on my phone at parties type of introvert. Like panic attacks, trying to talk to a room of 10 people type of introvert. Right? So I would practice things that scared me. I would do Instagram lives every day for a little while. I would do practice speeches every day for a little while. Like I was doing things that exposed me to my fear so that I could be heroic in my habits. By the way, everydaymeanseveryday.com. We help people get control of their habits. Go check it out. So what habits can you enforce in your life? that are uncommon. Second thing, things you talk about. How can you be more uncommon than the things you speak about? There's an old quote that says something to the effect of, average people discuss people. Good people discuss things, events, news, politics. Great people discuss ideas. They discuss concepts, right? How can you become more uncommon in the things that you think? Next one, things that you eat. It's no wonder most of America's fat and obese. It's your own damn fault, by the way. Don't, sometimes I get in trouble for like the political correctness thing. And it's like, dude, if you can't figure out how to eat less and move more, and, maybe read a label every once in a while, and if there's something that you can't pronounce, you probably shouldn't put it in your body. But that's why America has such a problem with this. It's not even just America. It's really the West in general, but America, I think, is the leading perpetrator of this. But it's because everybody's following the common American diet, which is what? All carbs, all ultra-processed foods. I think I saw something the other day that said between 40 and 60% of the average American diet is made up of ultra-processed foods. And you wonder why people are dropping like flies from cancer. What do you expect? What do you expect? You're eating chemicals. It's not food. God didn't make it. It didn't come from the ground. It didn't come from the tree. It wasn't breathing at one point. It's not real. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to stress myself out in this video. Point being, how can you be more uncommon in the things that you eat? That'll give you some uncommon results. Next thing, how do you spend your time? Can you be more uncommon and a little more heroic in the way that you spend your time? Most people spend their time scrolling on TikTok. Pretty common, pretty unheroic, pretty pathetic. That's a good litmus test. Like, that's a good benchmark. Here's an action. Here's something that I'm going to do. Here's a way that I'm going to spend my time. By the way, your time is a percentage of your life. Let's not lose sight of that. You're exchanging a portion of your life for this activity that you're going to do. So next time you get on TikTok and you start mindlessly scrolling, think about, is this worth exchanging 0.0 whatever percent of my existence for? It's probably not. But that's a good litmus test, is you sit down to do an activity and you ask yourself, is this a heroic thing that I'm doing? If the answer is no, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? You've got better things that you could be doing. I'm not saying that there's no room for leisure, but at least have some heroic leisure. If you're like wakeboarding behind a speedboat, that's pretty freaking heroic. Good for you. Good for you. If your leisure is lifting heavy weights, good for you. If your leisure is DJing at one of the bars in downtown Nashville here, okay, that's cool. At least, you're doing something kind of cool. That's kind of heroic and kind of uncommon. But if you're sitting there, I don't want to make a dirty joke. If you're sitting there on TikTok, I'll leave it at that. That's not very heroic. Okay? It's not very heroic. It's not, and it's very, very common. So it's probably not something that you should be doing if you want to live an uncommon life. Oh my God. My cat just tried to sabotage my video. Bro, we're leaving this in. Come here. No, show the people who you are. Show the people who you are. Come here. What? I've caught the perpetrator. This is Buddy. He was a rescue. I've had him for a couple years. I absolutely love this cat more than I love most humans. Bad boy. Okay, you're free to go. Anyway, we're leaving that in. What else can you do that's uncommon and a little bit more heroic? The things that you say. I mean, think about it. Most people's speech is very toxic in nature. People will run around saying things like, I'm tired, I'm busy. By the way, when you say I am, I don't want to get super like Bible thumper on this, but in the Bible, when Moses asks, who should I say sent me? God says, tell them the I am has sent you. I am that I am. So I am is God's name. When you say something like, I am tired, you are degrading the Spirit of God that lives within you. I believe that whenever you say I am followed by something negative, it's actually taking the Lord's name in vain. I really, really believe that. You've got to be careful about those I am statements because you're molding and shaping and defining your very identity. And so You can't run around saying, I'm tired, I'm busy, I'm sad, I'm depressed all the time and expect yourself to not be sad, depressed, and tired all the time. It's like, of course you are, because you've told the spirit within you that this is the identity that I'm bestowing upon you. This is the way that I'm going to tell you how to feel. Like, your body, mind, and spirit will respond to what you tell it. So my friend Mignon always says, speak what you seek till you see what you say. Speak what you seek till you see what you say. And I would bet if most of you would audit your speech and really start keeping track of this stuff, you would realize that you're seeing everything that you say. You're seeing and feeling that you are tired all the time because you're saying that you're tired all the time. And you think that it's correlation and causation, you got them mixed up. Like, you think that you say that you're tired because you feel tired. No, you feel tired because you say it. So I digress. How can you be more uncommon and more heroic in the things you say? A couple more things here. The things that you think. How can you have better self-talk mentally? How can you think better thoughts? Now, I always tell people, you cannot always control the thoughts that spring into your mind. That's not always under our control. You can absolutely control which thoughts you give power to. Okay? Just because you have a thought pop up in your mind doesn't mean that you need to spend the next 12 hours dwelling on it. Doesn't mean that you even need to believe that thought. You have a thought that says, I don't think this is going to go well. I don't think I'm prepared. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not ready. You ain't got. Who told you had to believe that? Who told you that you had to take that as the absolute word of God, as if it's law? Who told you that? Just say, you know what? I recognize the thought. I respect the fact that it entered my mind. I'm going to choose, because I'm a conscious being, I'm going to choose to push this aside, because this is not a reflection of who I really believe myself to be. It's not who I am. There's those words again. Last but not least, the goals that you set. How can you set uncommon goals? How can you set more heroic goals? You know, so many people set these stupid goals. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym this year. The hell does that mean? I'm gonna go to the gym this year. What does that mean? What does that mean? Can you quantify that? How many times a week are you gonna go? What are you gonna do when you're there? Who's holding you accountable? This is why in my Everyday Means Everyday programs, we don't set goals. I don't even allow people to set goals. You can give me a goal end result, but what we're going to do is reverse engineer that into a set of standards, non-negotiable daily standards that will ensure the achievement of the goal. Okay? So if you say, I want to lose 20 pounds, just saying that you want to lose 20 pounds means absolutely jack. That means nothing. Okay? What you do is you say, I want to lose 20 pounds, and then you reverse engineer that and say, well, what's it going to take for me to lose 20 pounds? It's going to take a calorie restriction of negative 200 calories a day. It's going to take at least 4 times a week in the gym following XYZ program. Okay, these are going to be standards that are non-negotiable throughout the days of every week of every month this year. That's a plan. That's a system. Those are standards. A goal means nothing. So stop setting bad goals, set some intelligent goals, and then reverse engineer them into standards and habits that will actually ensure that you achieve them. I digress. The point of this video is, how can you be less common and more heroic? I'm going to read these to you one more time. The common cannot be the heroic, and the heroic cannot be the common. Envy is ignorance, and imitation is suicide. Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist. Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I'll throw my quote in there as well, just because I want to be mentioned in the same air as Emerson, even if it's by me. The chosen one mustn't act like the common man, lest he himself become common. Appreciate you listening. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend who needs this message, and I will see you on the next one.